wasn't able to come. It's a shame. We are missing Mataji. Mataji is going. I think she underwent. I'm trying to recollect. She said she will, but that was last Friday. So kind of operation she's going through. So all our best wishes for her that she will recover soon and hope to get her back, because she's very active spiritually as well, and not only for herself but for her sister as well. And this is what devotees do, that they always, wherever they go, they provide the solace, because her sister's husband passed away during COVID, and she was a great help to her sister. So I was fortunate enough to meet her sister as well on one of the occasions we met at a friend's place. We had a kirtan, and yeah, a few devotees from Watford visited nearby, so we went there. So it's good. It's like a small family. Wherever you go, you meet the devotees from different cultures, which is great. Great. Right. So Shri Īśopaniṣad. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone else is doing well. We are in the, well, not really in the middle, but we are on mantra 7. So there are 18 mantras and we are on mantra 7. Hopefully we will conclude today. If not, then next time. And it's all coming from Srila Prabhupada Ji, based on his book, his purpose he provided on Shri Īśopaniṣad. Before we go any further, let's take the blessings of Acharyas and then we reconvene our session. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnana-janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Ade Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Parmami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for today's Shri Īśopaniṣad session. The plan is to continue mantra 7, and very quickly the background. We did the invocation Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Then Srila Prabhupada emphasized on mantra 1, the verse where the main keyword is, the principle is Īśavasyam. Everything belongs to Ishwar, to Krishna. And then mantra 2, how we can live in the harmony and what will be the benefits and what will be the disadvantages, how harmful it could be if we will not live in this harmony. And this is evident in today's so-called civilized advanced society, when we do all the material progress, which is great, but we don't have the foundation of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. And then now the segment we are on, so out of 18 mantras, the 4 to 8, that's where we are, that it's very hard to understand Krishna. The only way we can understand is by spiritual vision, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave the spiritual vision to Arjuna. So similarly, from 4 to 5, we understood how hard it is. It's inconceivable for us. We can't even think of it because we live in the limited dimensions. So if we talk about someone else who is in 6th dimension, we can't even conceive that dimension. And this is where the Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, Krishna Leela we refer in the scriptures, they are inconceivable. And there are many examples like this, that only Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, could do. No one else could do. Then in 6 and 7, so 4 and 5, it's inconceivable. But 6 and 7, which might appear like apparent contradiction, that somebody like Krishna, who is inconceivable, we can conceive that idea, we can understand that idea only through spiritual vision. And what will happen now, this is in different stages, that initially we live in material world, so we have to deal with the material world. For the beauty is that all the material things around us will be spiritualized if we live in Krishna consciousness. So we are still doing the same thing, but the consciousness is that we are serving Krishna. So a doctor trying to operate on the operating table and saying thank you to Krishna that you have given me the skills and the knowledge to operate this. And may you wish, if you want this operation to be successful, then please. And I have those devotee friends who are doctors, and they have personally told me that whenever they get into the operation theater, that's how they pray. That's how they say that I can only deal with what you can help me in. And this is what the Shastras say, that you just become the instrument. This is what Krishna said, that to Arjuna, that what are you crying for? The fate and the destiny for these people have already been sorted by me. You just become the instrument and act for me. That's it. Just leave everything else and surrender on to me. That's it. And that's how, whatever we're doing, whichever material job we are in, we just surrender to Krishna. And now how we could do it, there are many different examples being mentioned, but 3 different things. It says we can develop the spiritual vision by seeing worldly things. So all the material things we have. Srila Prabhupada very famously gave the example of the mic. Now, lucky enough these days, or for example, I'm talking directly to the monitor or the camera. The laptop has the mic inbuilt in it. But those days we used to have, and still outside when we go, we have external mics. So Prabhupada ji said, if somebody is going to sing Bollywood, Hollywood music on this mic, this is a material mic. But if I'm going to tell, or anyone is going to narrate the Krishna Katha using this mic, then this mic becomes spiritual. And that's how we can spiritualize things. Use the same things, the skills we have. So somebody like singing, then sing the bhajan. Somebody is much more analytical, then analyze the different shastras and put together the book. So another Prabhuji, I was discussing things this morning regarding Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhuji has written a book, and that book is upstairs. I've shown it. You could buy that book very, very nicely. The book explains. The book's title is that Easy Journey. So Srila Prabhupada wrote the book. The title is Easy Journey to Other Planets. This Prabhuji wrote, he's also my Siksha Guru, senior than me. So I learn a lot of things from him. And we work together, we serve together. And the book he has written, he has titled The Journey to Goloka Dham. So Prabhupada said journey to other planets, but he has written journey to Goloka Dham. And many scriptures he has referred to, and using those he has created this story, and very engaging way. So if you like to get hold of it, maybe I will share the link, and please go for it. It's a nice way of introducing Krishna consciousness to somebody who might be very new. So worldly things, then events, like the events we do, party. So New Year is coming. We always host the event over the New Year. Whenever we get the chance, either 1st of January or 2nd of January, and invite all the friends at our home, and we do the kirtan. So we start where most of the people materially will go 31st of December in the evening doing the party. We go to the devotees. Most of the devotees I know, they go to the bed early and wake up early in the morning, 1st of January, and do the kirtan. So that's how the devotees could celebrate. So these are the kind of events we have. And we can celebrate the birthdays, which we do. We can celebrate the anniversaries, which we do. But rather than having the get together and do the Bollywood or Hollywood singing, nothing wrong in those. I'm not musical as such, but I'm sure those who cherish those different kind of events, it's for them. But what the scripture says, what this mantra says, these two mantras, that we can develop the spiritual vision where we can see Krishna consciousness. We can feel it. We can have Krishna in the middle of all these things, material things in the material event. And if you would like to get something organized in your home, whichever country you are in, most of the countries I know, including Russia and Ukraine and South Korea. North Korea, I'm not sure, but even in South Korea, I've met the devotees, and they could easily get in touch with the Hare Krishna devotees, and most of the time devotees are so kind that they are always eager to come around, visit the house, and do the kirtans at your place. And interesting enough, so Ajay ji, we were discussing earlier that we celebrated Diwali at our place, and one of our very exciting member invited this Bollywood dancers. Well, some of the dancers here in London, so they run the company, and they came along, and I also took part. But there was a guy who was dancing with me. At the end, when we finished, then I asked him, where are you from? Because I could feel that he's not native English person. And the person said, I'm from Ukraine. And then we started discussing things. And then the same thing which many devotees, they have confirmed in past, that these cultural events and the spiritual wisdom, which might not be from his own personal religion, but they still provide so much comfort, especially during such a disturbing time. So I think we were only two male there, And he was very exciting. He didn't know much, but when we started sharing, and he was at peace. He was very happy at the end, especially when we left. We were discussing things. So all those events somehow we could spiritualized, and then people with equanimity. This is another word which we will see, which we did, the oneness. Now let's get further so we can so this is the mantra, and if we will go further, we see, so the mantra, okay, looking for yasmin sarvani bhutani atmeva. So the Sanskrit words are so great that the one word could mean many things, but one word based on our circumstances, that word could reveal different meanings, which makes the same word much more powerful and meaningful for our personal. So when I will read this verse, this might mean a bit different for me, but compared to somebody else who reads it. But that's where the purpose of the acharyas, they are so important. So we're going to jump from here because we have already covered Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji's presentation, and we will go to different presentation, still on the same verse and still discussing the same concepts which we have been discussing, but maybe different kind of presentation. So the translation itself says, and ekatvam, that's the word. Anupashyant, we have seen the vision we would like to develop from, based on the Shastras frame, based on the Guru Shishya Parampara, disciple succession, we call it. But what will happen from that vision, we will develop ekatvam, which is eka, oneness. But what kind of oneness we would like to develop? There is a great analogy, which is if we speak to Advaitian, which, and Prabhupada used the word Mayavadi, because there's a group, Advait, which is part of Upanishads, many different school of thoughts being explained. They considered that everything is illusion. And Prabhupada also said something very similar, but he said, rather than considering everything as illusion, consider this is real, but this is very temporary. Now, in one respect, if you think, there's not much different from, of course, when we will go into details, then there is a lot of difference. But from the top, if you think, for example, when we are dreaming, everything looks real to us, but only for a short period. We could dream for 10 minutes. We could dream for 5 hours. But as soon as we will wake up, it's not reality anymore. The same thing. So Upanishad says that this is a real dream. So this is dream, which means it's illusion. Nothing is real. And one day we will wake up. And now the next bit, what they say, that's where the difference is. They say we will become one with the God. One person will become one with the God, and they say, which means that you will become God. Now, this is the terminology, which is a bit of confusion and could be the reason of conflict between Dvait and Advait. But basically, they say not only anyone could become God. Now, what Srila Prabhupada said, it's a temporary world, not that it's not real, it's real, but it's very temporary. Sharn Bhangur, as our scripture says, it's Sharn Bhangur. Sharn is like momentarily. It's not going to stay for long. But then Prabhupada said that very similar, the time of the death, all this will go away. And then we will, hopefully, if we reach to that consciousness, whether we will take another material birth or we will go to spiritual world and we will get our new identity. We say new because we have forgotten the previous one. It could be that we will get our original identity, but because we don't remember, we could say it's a new identity, but it might not be new. It's like, give the example of a king's son, that he was a king's son. He has always been king's son, but because of the accident, he forgot. His memory was lost. And he forgot he was the king's son, but he was still the king's son. But when he made friends, he was just a normal citizen. Later, when his memory came back, his friends will say, oh, now you are king's sons. Yeah, you're the son of the king. You got a new identity. You are going to behave differently. But, and maybe, of course, the person will be different now, will behave differently, and might not able to meet that regularly, might have to leave the friends and have to go and stay in the palace. But whether that is the new identity or is the old original identity, but the person just forgotten about it. And this is what we are talking about ourselves. That before the material world started, and almost all the major religions we will talk about, they agree on this point that this place we live in, it's not a real. It's not a real. Whether we take the example from any other religion, we take the example, they've all said in their holy scriptures that this is a temporary place. And of course, to emphasize that, they've given many examples and they have given many different philosophies. But this point is very clear that this world is material. Whether we consider this as illusion, we consider this as a dream, or we consider this as a temporary thing. Like we get onto the plane, maybe the flight is for half an hour, maybe the flight is for 10 hours, 22 hours. It's temporary. And we don't need to get attached. We don't need to get attached to the people next to us. We don't need to attach to the seat we are sitting on. We don't need to attach on the monitor we are watching entertainment on. We don't. We know this is just a journey from one place to another. And if we live in that consciousness, then we will see how much, this is what mantra 2 comes, then how much disharmony will go as per mantra 3 and harmony will come in mantra 2. Because not only I will realize I'm doing this temporary journey, but everyone else is doing the same. But when people start getting attached, I don't know if you have noticed, but certainly I have noticed in past, of course, I got a couple of kids my own. And sometimes kids at the end of the flight journey, they don't want to give their blankets or their headphones or toys up. They usually take away. They get it. In Emirates Airlines, we used to fly a lot. So they give the toys and you can take away the toys, but you are supposed to return your headphones. You're supposed to return your blanket. And sometimes kids, they get attached to it. No, I like it. I don't want to give it. Now, whose fault it is? It's just the attachment between two. And if we understand that, then we could be so much relaxed. But we all have the spiritual sparks, not only in us, but in others as well. So mantra 6 explains for ourselves. Mantra 7 goes a bit further and we can see everyone as a spiritual spark, which means that we don't need to have disharmony with anyone else. As we say, if we have 10-pound note, whether we keep it in our left pocket or right pocket, does it matter? Whether I keep it or my wife keeps it, does it matter? Now, maybe if I know she's going to go for the shopping, but most of the time, I know it's safe. Yeah, she's responsible, of course, and hopefully she will think the same for me. Now, if I will keep that money in my children's bank account, more or less the same thing. I will say it's still part of the family, right? So if we could extend it further, and you might think this is far stretched analogy, but a lot of people do that. They say, and not only now, even in the past this has happened. For example, Bill Gates. The only reason Bill Gates, well, one of the reasons, I guess, Bill Gates is not anymore the richest person on the planet because he has given away a lot of his wealth. Why? Why? Because he has realized he got enough for himself. And there was an interview where I think somebody said that you are billionaire, so that makes your kids billionaire instantaneously. And he said, no, I had to work for my riches. They will work for theirs. I will provide everything to them, whatever they need, but whatever they need, right? Not whatever they want, whatever they desire. So they will understand the true value. This is what the mantra 7 says, that when you have a lot, you will be able to share with everyone, because we're going to live in oneness. And that's where the harmony comes in. Mantra 7 further describes the consciousness of Mahabhagavad. Now, of course, I can certainly say for myself, I'm not at that level of consciousness. We have understood in Mantra 6 that there are 3 different levels of consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, 3 different levels of consciousness as devotee progress further. The first one, Kanishta, neophyte, somebody who just got introduced to the idea and is still wondering things. Second one, Madhyam, intermediary, somebody who has progressed a bit further, has started serving, got commitments, got material commitments, but have committed to the spiritual services as well. But then we have Mahabhagavat. This is where we refer a devotee as Uttamatikari, pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada ji, like our Guru Maharaj. And they can live in that consciousness of oneness. We might not be able to, but it's good for us to understand that if we follow these principles and these practices, we can gradually develop from Kanishta to Madhyam to Uttam. And then we can celebrate the benefits of this oneness. Now, the example I was giving between Advaita and Dvaita before, when they say we merge with the Lord and we become the Lord, what Prabhupada ji says, that it's not that we merge in the God, we meet the God, right? Now, how we can understand this? So there is an example, the analogy goes that we are like a river, and river will go and merge into the ocean. Once the river has merged into the ocean, the river water is not river water anymore. It has become the water of ocean. We cannot point in the ocean to any water and say this is the river water or this was the river water. No, this is now ocean's water. And this is the example from Advaita, that we are not two, we are actually one. We have always been ocean waters. We fell into illusion and we thought we are river's water, but we have always been ocean's water. What Srila Prabhupada ji says, what Dvait philosophy in Vedic culture says, that it's not, so the water is not the living body. The fishes in the water, we are not the water of the river, we are the fish. We are the fishes in the water of the river. What does that mean? That even when the river merges in the ocean, we, as the fish in the river, now become the fish in the ocean, but we still retain our original identity as a fish in this example. Which means we still have, we are now with the God, we are now with the ocean, but we are still there. Not that we have completely gone and it's only God who is left, what Advaita says. And of course, there are many more detailed description in that. So when this oneness comes, this is the difference how Advaita and Dvaita explains it. And Prabhupada ji gave a bit of purport on it. So I thought this might be good to understand it. And so this is what we see now is from Radhesham Prabhuji from Pune, who has been doing a great job. And actually I was watching his videos, and he explained a bit more about Krishna, in which he said that how we can understand how karmas affect to us. Maybe we will see. We will see just a video in his own lecture he shared, and I thought that was a great way of Because we always say in Krishna consciousness, the very first thing is association. And based on the association, our karmas changes. And to emphasize that, he found a video which he shared, and I will share with you as well. But the main theme he says in 6 and 7 is that living entities and the Lord are one in quality and interest and not in quantity. So somebody said, why do we have this eagerness to enjoy ourselves? Why do we want to enjoy all the time? It says, because we have the quality of Krishna, and Krishna wants to enjoy. Krishna is Satchitananda, hence we are Satchitananda. Krishna wants to enjoy, hence we want to enjoy. The only difference is it says when a servant is there. Now again, we can take the example of, because servant is very degraded word in this material world, but consider the parents as the servants when parents serve the children. And even though parents are serving the children, but still parents enjoy more than the children. It's amazing. Children, they keep shouting. Well, of course, parents keep shouting as well. But parents always look after children of their needs, whatever they need, wherever they need. And in that service, in that tiredness, the parents, they enjoy. Right? For example, whenever Shivani, even now, goes to the bed, she says, oh, I want to hear this story. Could you come and read this story? And even if I had a long day and I was, oh, I'm tired, or I can't do it today, but still I will try to go and read the story to her. Of course, she enjoys it, but I enjoy narrating those stories to her as well. Just an example. So the living entity and the Lord are one in quality. We would like to enjoy because Krishna, we are part of Krishna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Krishna is Purna. We have emanated from Krishna and we are also Purna. But we are not unequal with Krishna as quantity. This is quality, quantity. This is wrong. This should be, and not in quantity. This is quantity. It's a misspelled word here. So similar, for example, ocean and river. The water is the same. The quantity is, the quality of the water might be same, but the quantity of river, quantity of a lake, quantity of a pond, and quantity, and consider comparison to quantity of ocean is much, much, much different. And this is how Prabhuji has explained the purport of Srila Prabhupada, that who can see God? Only Uttam Adhikari and Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari also sees the devotees and the spiritual spark in everyone. They might not know how to treat. Remember, we said that they will ignore those atheists, but Uttam Adhikari will never. They accept everyone. But Madhyam Adhikari might ignore and might, well, based on the circumstances, and might not able to get into the conversation with atheists. But Uttam Adhikari, they're proficient enough. And what is this oneness? Living entities are qualitatively one and quantitatively one. Qualitatively one, not quantitatively one with Supreme Lord. So the same concept. This is what we need to understand, how we are one. This concept has been explained. And this is one of the biggest difference between Advaita and Dvaita. Advait philosophy and Dvait philosophy. And Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Mat, ISKCON is part of that. Sampradaya is Dvaita philosophy. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. Living entities' interest is same with the Supreme Lord. So, because Krishna is Satchitananda, we are Satchitananda. Krishna has that quality, we have that quality. Example of oneness has been given. So, fire and spark, we have seen this. Fire is there, but the heat energy comes and the light energy comes, maybe the sound energy comes. But the source is Krishna. And salt in drop versus sea, we have seen it. The quality of the salt of one drop is the same, the quality of the salt in the whole ocean, but the quantity of a one drop, consider the sea, is nothing. Family versus national interest. Some people have family interests, some people have national interests, but it's just a comparison, isn't it? Those who work in the military, maybe their family interest is the national interest because they have all military. So the company I work in, there are many ex-militants there. Militants, I say, the military guys, ex-military guys. And they, yeah, even though now when they work, they always have the national interest in mind. But why not qualitatively also? Why not qualitatively oneness? Why not quantitatively? Yes, because qualitatively we are same, but quantitatively we are different. So why not same there as well? Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. So this is what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita as well, that everyone is kalaha pumsam. So we are just part of Krishna. So it says 80% of the qualities of whole, and we will when we will do nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction. Even later we can discuss this. The scriptures mention. So the list of qualities are there. List of qualities of Krishna, 100%. Then Lord Vishnu, nearly there. Let's say 95%. It's around that. I don't remember the exact figure. But so 100% Krishna, 95% Vishnu, and then say 90% Lord Shiva, and then 80% Brahmaji. And because Brahma is a living entity. Brahma is a living entity, just like us, he's a living body. So we also have 80%. But the only thing is that all those, well, most of the time in Brahma has also fallen down sometimes. But most of the time, those 80% qualities are fully manifested, fully expressed by Lord Brahma. But for us, it's not. For example, we say for the children that, oh, you have the quality, you can study hard, you can get this once you will put your head together, which means the quality is there, but it's not manifested yet. So that's how we are. That's why scientists says that we only use very minute part of our brain. But Lord Brahma has utilized 80%, like 100% of 80%. So that's why qualitatively we cannot be one with Krishna. We are not even quantitatively one with Lord Brahma, even though our qualities are there. And we can see within the humans, one teacher, 20 students in a class, and all 20 students have different qualities. And the quantities of the qualities are different as well. So perfection of oneness. So we can see and we can feel oneness in everyone, but how perfect it is, right? So the analogy of I remember personally I had asked someone where there are different grades in understanding, and so even whether we do good or bad, they could be categorized into three, like how good or how bad it is. Anything, like if we have committed an offense, then, and we have experience in our day-to-day life as well. So the first offense, for example, is not that big offense. It's like an offense, and that's where the analogy comes for us to remember. It's like we draw a line on water. We can see the line, but it disappears straight away. So this could be when we do over speeding. We did it. So we were not supposed to do over speeding, but we did it. But we were not captured in the camera. Second time, it was like we drew the line on sand. It will stay there for a while. Maybe we did over speeding and we caught speeding and we got the fine. Once we paid the fine, everything is okay, right? So the first time, water on the line on the water, we did it, but nobody noticed it, and it's okay, it's gone. We can carry on with our life. Second time, there are going to be implications, but sooner or later it could, and we can completely forget about it. It's not going to be there in our records as such. But the third time, it's like on a stone. Now the line on the stone will also go away. Why? Because this is a temporary life. Either we will go or the stone will go. Of course, the stone does go away. And but that's going to leave a long impact. That's like, Krishna forbids, if we met an accident, and now it's going to affect, not only we are going to get fine and all, but we will have our insurance policy affected. And this is going to stay with us for 5 or 7 years. So these are 3 different levels. So the oneness is there, but how perfect is it? Sin is there, good is there, but how good or how bad it is. Is it a line on the water, line on the sand, or line on the stone? And these are 3 different levels. But what we say here, perfection of oneness, platform of real enjoyment. And there is another analogy, and maybe it's worth doing another session on mantra 7, because there are a few more things we can discuss on real enjoyment. What is real enjoyment? So I remember when I learned yoga, then my yoga guru, so I was still in school, and the yoga teacher, yoga guru, and I didn't learn in school, so I learned around my house. There was next to a river, there was a mandir, temple, and the bank of the temple in the river, that's where he used to teach, and it was open for everyone. So there were all different kind of people there, and I was very blessed that I was there, and I learned yoga. And I remember yoga teacher always used to say that become very selfish, but before you become selfish, understand where your interests are, like what's good for you, and then work hard for that goodness. So, and become selfish in achieving those goodness. That's how he used to explain. So the same thing is, Krishna says, if you like to enjoy yourself. But before that, understand what real enjoyment is. For example, the kids, they might think, oh, the goodness is in, the real fun is in drinking, in smoking. And we are wise enough to understand that there are implications later, not only socially, but on the physical body as well. So before we get into the enjoyment, we need to understand what real enjoyment is. Now, waking up for the Mangala Aarti, dancing at the front of the deity, along with devotees, that could be considered as real enjoyment. Cooking something great, so today is Ekadashi, cooking something great, offering to Krishna, and then enjoying it is like a real enjoyment we could have. How that enjoyment could affect us, until unless, of course, we have diabetes and we are cooking some sweets and offering, of course, that's going to hurt us. And that's where it is that we need to understand the implication before. So before we start enjoying, we need to understand what real enjoyment is. And that's what has been emphasized here. Giving enjoyment to Supreme as center, Atma Bhuta, same as Brahma Bhuta. So we say Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So Atma Bhuta is the Atma inside, but within us, not only our own individual Atma is there, we also have Paramatma there. And Paramatma is always there, not only as a witness. So the mention is there. You might remember that from Vedic culture, we have somebody when the person dies and gets to the door of the hell or heaven. At that point, the accountant, if I say, called Chitragupt is there. And he's the first person who is going to check what you have been doing all your life. And based on your karmas, you're going to get the results. And that's where Radhe Shyam Prabhuji shared that video, which I will share next time, that how the karmas affect, how the association affects our karma. And based on that, it says that, oh, right, okay, you've been doing, and then you can lie, I did this and that. Then it says there are so many, I think 11 or 13 sakshis, the witnesses are there, like the sun, moon, day, night, and super soul, which always stays with us. That's why we say we can never say lie, because there are so many witnesses there, and one of them at least always with us. And of course, super soul has always been with us. Now, that's where Atma Bhuta becomes Brahma Bhuta. And this is what it says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na shochati, na kankshati. Like, once you become Brahma Bhuta, Brahman realizer, oneness in ourselves and everyone else, we never become miserable again. Mantra 2 for harmony and mantra 3 for disharmony. That's been explained much more. So, and when we saw this, I think 80% qualities of whole, we left this. I left it. If one then can't be in Maya. Okay, this is for Mayavadis. We will discuss this more later. Prabhupada explained it. Not even demigods can surpass Supreme Lord. So many examples there. At the time of Govardhan episode, the pastime, Lord Indra said sorry to Krishna. Brahma was subdued by Lord Krishna, and that's why he has written Brahm Samhita. Beautiful verses. I was learning the verses from Brahm Samhita, and beautiful verses there. Chintamani. And each and every verse explains so much about the Lord, about Krishna. So if you like to know more about Krishna, then Brahma ji has explained so nicely in Brahm Samhita. So Brahm Samhita has been put together by Brahma. So we can see how, so Brahma is also a demigod. Of course, Brahma is the father of Lord Indra. Lord Indra is the leader of all the demigods, or Devta we call it. So they all are demigods. Examples, more examples they've said. Children obedient to the will of father, we have seen it. Now, sometimes children will not understand why the parents asking them to do this. Like when we ask them to chant, they don't realize that how chanting is going to help them, how chanting is going to help their grades, right? So Aryan lost, I think, 2 or 3 marks in his maths exam. He said, oh, I should have got 100%, I lost this. And why? They were very silly mistakes. Very silly mistakes. I said, well, this is where the focus and the concentration comes in. And when we do mantra meditation, which is chanting in the morning, then not only we put all their stress and anxieties on one side, because obviously when we go to the exams, then a lot of stress is there, a lot of anxiety is there. So all those nerves, they are in check, they're in control, because we have been doing that chanting every morning. Not only because of that, but of course, there are many side effects as well. So it's really good if you haven't already started chanting, whether we do individually or we do together. And if we can do both, that's great, because there are benefits of both. So when we chant just alone, it's between us and Krishna. But when we chant together with others, then it's a kirtan, and the benefits of all. And the 9 steps of devotional service. So the very first one, we say Smaran. We think of Krishna. We remember Krishna. No, sorry. The hearing. We hear about Krishna. But once we hear something good, what do? We do the kirtan, and we would like to think of it, and we would like to share with others. And that's how association begins. A result of achieving this oneness, we have discussed this. This is where mantra 2 is. We will be in harmony. If we could achieve that oneness, then there's no jealousy, no anxiety, no hatred, not getting angry in anyone. Why? Have you seen one left hand getting angry with the right hand? Have we ever started hitting ourselves? Hopefully not. So if we see everyone else as part and parcel of Krishna as well, just like us, then there's nothing which could make us proactive to develop those bad habits which we have developed during the course of our material life. Effects of rejecting this oneness. So this is what we have discussed, mantra 2, mantra 3. And this will continue. Right, okay. So maybe very briefly, these two. And next week, we will conclude this mantra. And I will show that video as well, which Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, which Radhesham Prabhuji has shared on his channel. And this is a result of achieving oneness, the last two, result of achieving this oneness and effects of rejecting this oneness. So as I said, the harmony, mantra 2, and disharmony, mantra 3. So surrender to Krishna. Of course, if we will develop that, we can surrender to Krishna. If all the kids will live in harmony, it's easy to surrender to the father, to mother, to parents. The harmony we can feel in the family if all the children are living together. And this oneness doesn't say only devotee congregation, only Sanatana Dharma, only Hindu. No, this oneness is with everyone. No material miseries. No material miseries. Now, this doesn't say the material pain won't be there. Because the body is there, so the pain will be there, but the misery won't be there. The mental misery won't be there. It's a lot of time research has happened that there was an example. It's there somewhere in the scripture where the death was coming, the death personification was coming to a kingdom, and said to the king, "King, I'm coming to your kingdom. Let me come. And I will take 100,000 people." And the king was very sad. King said, "There is anything I can do? I'm so sorry. The time is up. It's imagine like a COVID. I'm going to come, and 100,000 people, they have ran out of their luck and their time, and they need to go." And king said, "Okay." So the death came in one form or another, stayed there in that kingdom for a week. And instead of 100,000, 4,000 people died. So when the king, at the end of the week, what was the promised timeline with the king? When the death was leaving, king said, "Hey, I thought you are Dharmaraj," because death is Yamraj, Dharmaraj. "So you said 100,000, but you killed 400,000. And death said, "Actually, no, I only killed 100,000. Rest of the 3,000, so 4,000 people died altogether. 100,000 I killed. Rest of the 3,000 died because of the fear." And this has been scientifically proven that more people, even at the time of Titanic, more people die due to fear rather than the cause itself. And that's what we call material miseries, because these miseries are more on mental status rather than on the physical body. So now there's only 1 minute left. I'm checking the time. We could see the freedom from illusion and lamentation. There won't be any illusion left because we can see everywhere around us as material world anyways. We will never get attached to it, which means we will not live in illusion that our family members will stay with us, our job will stay with us, we will always have enough money. No, these things, we didn't have it. We have it now. We will not have it again. And these things will go away. So mentally, we will always be prepared. And birth and death, of course, at the time of the death, if we are not thinking of material things, because while living, we are not attached to these things. At the time of the death, we will not be attached to them. Why? Because we take our time to attend sessions like this, where in the devotee congregation, we'll hear about Krishna and we think about Krishna and we discuss how we can make things spiritualize in Krishna consciousness. So we will resume back and we will cover the effects of rejecting oneness. And then we will go to this presentation as well. This is a different presentation. And we will summarize mantra 6 and mantra 7. And we will conclude this part before we'll move to the next one, which is mantra 8. And the new concept will be introduced in this by Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for your presence today. I look forward to have your association next week, 9:30 at UK time and 3 o'clock Indian time, I think. So thank you so much for your presence, for your association. With that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev Maharaj ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you.